Hey, welcome to Hardwork Smart YouTube channel. My name is Jerzy, and today I'm gonna tell you why I think the Samsung Z Flip 3 is an excellent digital minimalist phone. Let's go. I'm gonna talk to you today about what I think can be a very good candidate to a modern minimalist, digital minimalist phone. And it's a phone that is premiered this week, and it's a phone that you didn't think probably could bear the name of digital minimalist. And the phone, of course, I'm talking about is the Samsung Z Flip 3. Oh my god, a Samsung, it's a smartphone, just a smartphone that can be closed, that looks like a clamshell from the 90s. It's all true, it's a smartphone, but using one launcher and some difficult decisions, you can have a very good digital minimalist smartphone. And let me explain why I think that this is a far better strategy to have the Samsung Z Flip 3 as a digital minimalist smartphone than to have a normal, not flippy, not closing, not clamshell style smartphone. The first reason is that it can be closed, so to use it you have to open it, and so it adds some friction between you and your apps. And we are gonna talk about the apps later on in this video, but I think this additional friction makes a lot of sense, and if you have tried to be a digital minimalist, you know that the friction is a very good tool to put between you and things that can be addictive. The second reason is that this smartphone has very good cameras. For the times you don't have your big good image quality camera with you, you can use those cameras without opening the phone and have memories, have photos, make vlogs, because this is what I do. And so for a digital minimalist who is also a vlogger, this is a good B or C cam, but it is good enough. So you can walk in the street and really use those cameras with the outside screen used as a viewfinder for you, and people around you will not think that you are vlogging actually, because the phone is closed. It's half the normal smartphone size, and still you can vlog with it. Still you can make photos, and you can also use the phone half opened, half closed to make photos, to put it on a table, and it works as a tripod for this smartphone. The third reason why the Samsung Z Flip 3 is a good digital minimalist smartphone is that it has a small battery, so you will have to be very intentional while using it. Because if you will be consuming Netflix and YouTube on it, it will die on you, and you will not be able to use it as a phone actually. The number 4 reason is that it has a decent processor, decent memory, and decent system. It will be upgraded to later versions of Android. It is not an Android version 7 or 8 like many digital minimalist phones. And it can actually withstand the pressures of the developers and of the technological future. So if you need some apps that will work on your digital minimalist smartphone, you can be sure that those apps will work on this smartphone, and that the security of this smartphone will not be compromised by a lack of updates in the future. The number 5 is using the productivity launcher, and this is the launcher I'm recommending to all of you who are thinking about transforming your Android phone into a digital minimalist phone. Using the productivity launcher, you can decide to use some of the apps you find useful or mandatory, but you will not have the traditional smartphone look. You will rather have a text-based, low-key, monochromatic look of the launcher, which will not feed addictive behaviors of scrolling, switching to apps. And the apps I judge necessary for today are Maps and the Microsoft Authenticator I'm using for 2FA authentication for one-time codes that are used by some apps I'm using. So for security reasons and for logistical reasons, basically, I think I still can't use a phone that is not completely a dumb phone. Number 6, it doesn't look like a smartphone, and so it will give a good example to your children if you don't want to lug around a very big smartphone and stare at a screen, a glowing screen. Actually, it makes sense, and this is why I love so much the Punkt MP02, because it doesn't look like a smartphone. And this one does not look as a smartphone either. If you close it, it looks like, I don't know, like something, but not a smartphone. Maybe a battery, maybe something else. And to hang up, you close the smartphone, so this is pretty neat. It's not like tapping your finger on a screen, but rather like the old days of clamshell phones, you close the phone when you stop using it. Number 7 is you can use the full QWERTY keyboard when you really need it, when you really need to type something fast. Maybe you don't want to forget an idea, maybe you don't want to call somebody, but rather send a text. This is something I would judge. You should think about it, because one of the biggest advantages of having a digital minimalist phone is to call people instead of texting. But there are situations when you need to send a text, and the QWERTY keyboard can be faster in those situations. And the last, number 8, the act of closing the phone and hanging up is reminiscent of old flip phones, and it's cool. And so if it's cool, why not use it? Why not judge it as a good attribute of a digital minimalist phone? And so here it is. I'm using a Samsung Z Flip 3 right now to record this video, and I will be using it for some time, some weeks ahead, and I will see whether this is a good minimalist, a digital minimalist smartphone or not. As I said, I need some apps to be working in order to be efficient in my business, in order to live comfortably. There is a lot of apps that I will not be using. I won't be using any internet browser, I won't be using any communicator apps. I will call most of the time people, I will also text sometimes, and I will record some video, I think, because those cameras are really neat. So please let me know in the comments whether you are disillusioned and you think that I have betrayed the digital minimalist crowd, or maybe you think it's okay to use a smartphone like that. I highly recommend the productivity launcher. It's a neat launcher. Bye bye.